Alright everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. So in today's video, I did some volunteer work for a friend whose house burned down, which is tragic. So anyways, we went ahead and we're setting up the service again so they could get power to start working on the house. So this is the service board that we got up. I didn't do that, but I was basically just wiring up the receptacles with Grandpa. I met up with him on my road trip in an undisclosed location. So I went ahead and wired up these receptacles. Basically, we were just adding in, wiring up two 20 amp receptacles, weatherproof on the left side, and a bell box, and then on the right side, a RV plug, single pole 30 amp, which I've actually never done before, so that was kind of interesting and fun. So basically, I'm just going to walk you through the process here. And the inspector afterwards did say that the board needs to be an H panel, so they needed to add another post because this board is just kind of hanging off into space. So I'm sure that was added after I left. It's after the fact now, now that I'm in Kentucky. But anyways, this is just the process of me putting in the KO seals to start out with, and then went ahead and grabbed the THHN to wire up the two receptacles on the left, and they're each going to be dedicated to their own specific breaker. So I went ahead and just taped those wires together and then stuffed that through the little flex. I'm not sure if, I think it was just normal flex. I'm not sure if it was LMFC or not with the metal inside. I went ahead and pulled the wire down and then made sure that was long enough to get to the breakers. And then from there, I just kind of hid that up there.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Let it rip, son. Yeah. Sheesh. So the homeowner decided to cut that tree down because it was in the way of the line feeding the house from the street. So I had to cut that tree down because trimming it just wasn't enough to get the power line down to this pole. So I just cut that tree down, no big deal. And then from there, just went ahead and stripped out the wires and started to land those on the receptacles. Moving in a little bit closer here, got the receptacles all wired up, ground to ground, neutral to neutral, hot to hot, and then I went ahead, just threw some tape around those just to be extra safe, and then I went ahead and stuffed a little bit of the wire up because it was a little bit long, and then taking the bubble cover. Sometimes these bubble covers, you'll have to put the screws, take the screws out of the receptacles and then screw it through the bubble cover into the screws on the boxes. This one actually, the box had extra screw holes, so I was able to just screw these receptacles to the bell boxes, which was really nice because it's one of the biggest hassles to try to put the screws through the bubble covers and then screw in the receptacles. But this was nice because I could just screw the receptacles straight to the box, and then I was able to take the bubble cover screws and screw that to the extra holes on the box. So that was really, really nice. So from here, I'm just tightening up the 4 screws on the bubble cover, and then from there went ahead and started to land the wires on their appropriate spots in the panel. So holding these up to the ground bar, went ahead and got those all situated, stripped out, and then went ahead and landed the grounds. And this is a sharing bar with the grounds and the neutrals, so went ahead and just landed the neutrals right above the grounds, obviously stripping them out first and then landing those on the screws right above the grounds. And then for the hots, those go onto the breakers, if you did not already know that. So holding those up to the breakers, cutting those to their appropriate length, and then stripping those out, loosening the screws on the breakers, and then putting the wire in, tightening that back down. And Grandpa came back with the wire because he made run to the store because we didn't have any 10 wire for the 30 amp receptacle. so he was gone the whole time while I was working on this. So he came back with a little chunk of 10 wire Romex, so he pulled that apart and stuffed that through for the 30 amp receptacle through that flex. And I'm not sure if these we're gonna need straps or not for the flexes, but that's another story for another day. So anyways, went ahead and got the wire through from Grandpa and went ahead and landed the ground on that, and I also landed the ground before on the receptacles next door, which I forgot to mention. So anyways, tightening down the ground to ground, neutral to neutral, and the hot to hot on the 30 amp single phase RV receptacle. So that was the first time, like I said, doing one of those. And then I went ahead and took my beater screwdriver and got some extra torque on those so they're nice and tight and they're not going anywhere. Went ahead and threw some tape around this receptacle as well, just to be extra safe. Why not? And then took the 4 screws for this receptacle and tightened those down. And then went ahead and just landed the grounds also to the ground bar, or the shared ground neutral bar. So I got that looking pretty around, folding the ground wire around the panel and going straight right into there, tightening that down, doing the same thing for the neutral, folding it to the corner, and then doing a nice 90 right above the ground with the neutral into the shared bar. And then lastly, doing the same thing with the hots that you'll see here in a second after I tighten this neutral down, and then going up to the 30 amp breaker up here, folding that and then cutting it to its respectable place, and then loosening that screw, tightening it down onto the breaker, and then from there going ahead and taking my beater screwdriver once again and tightening everything just to make sure everything is nice and tight so nothing is loose. One of the neutrals on the other side was pretty loose. I got like 2 or 3 turns out of it just because it's stranded and sometimes they might not line up with the screws exactly, but I just do a nice little loose job with my normal screwdriver and then tighten it down. So this is what the board looks like. This pole was set by the power company or someone, I'm not sure. But obviously the wire is just cut there, and so I had no danger of working hot or anything like that, obviously. There's Grandpa's toolbox with his ammo can and my tools that I brought from home. And this is what the inside looks like. There's a zip tie, a little, not the best on the left side, I admit. The right side looks really nice because it's solid and really easy to fold and stay in place. Stranded not so much, didn't have any sticky backs. Wire was probably a little bit long. I probably could have cut that a little bit shorter on the left side with a THN. But anyways, all good. Went ahead and threw the cover on, screw on the bottom, screw on the left and the right. And this is what the front of the house looks like for the one wall that was standing, in case you were wondering. And then lastly, we went to the store later that night and came back for the bubble cover. Had to find this bubble cover from Home Depot. Got that knocked out and then screw that down, and that's pretty much the end of the service work there. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. God bless. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.